Bollywood royalty is a term, a cliche that's thrown about too freely these days. What's happening today, though, in my life, what's happening in this room, in this studio, is something beyond Bollywood royalty. We have here Zeenat Aman, the quintessential Bollywood heroine. For me, Zeenat, I would even go as far to say that you are the Bollywood heroine of the last 100 years. Welcome to the BBC Asian Network.
My word, Bobby, thank you so much. Thank you for your kind words.
Now, I don't lie with these kind words. I'm not exaggerating. If anything, I'm holding myself back. I really do think that you occupy a special and magical space in the history of Bollywood. There are many arguments around the best Bollywood era, the 70s, the 80s. Lots of people talk about the 90s. For me, the best body of work, the definitive body of work, was the 70s and the 80s. And you rode those decades like a Maharani.
Well, okay, that's one way of looking at it. I mean, those were the years that I worked very, very hard from my perspective. Really, I had my nose to the grind. I spent many, many hours in the studio. Actors used to do what they called double shifts. Raj Kapoor called all of us taxis with our meters down. So yeah, there were long working hours. I think I never attended a party for about 8 years. Never went out at night for 7-8 years, unless it was related to the release of my film or a premiere. So those years were years of very hard work.
Is it fair to say, to use a phrase, were you a workhorse, literally getting up in the morning and just getting on the road and doing all your work?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, for sure.
Okay, so my first proper question, I've already put you up there as an icon. I've used the word goddess. Do you understand the regard in which you're held by fans of Indian cinema?
Well, I'm beginning to get an idea now. One tends to, be involved in one's own life, and you really don't reflect back on the work that you have done. But, when you tell me, I believe you.
You must have known this before this special day for me, meeting you. I'm sure in 2012, 2013, you must have turned around one day and looked in the mirror and said, I am the great Zeenat Aman. Do you ever do that?
No.
I would.
Okay, I will take a cue from you and maybe do that in front of the mirror once in a while when I get back home. That's wonderful.
Now let's go back right to the beginning. I want to go back to your childhood. Was it a happy childhood?
Yes.
And did you have any inkling of where you were going, say when you were 7 or 8?
No, of course not. I didn't. My mother came from the Scindia family. My father was from Bhopali royalty, and they eloped, got married. But by the time I was 2, they were separated, of course. And we lived with my mother. Went away to boarding school, then won a scholarship and went to the USA. Came back, did modeling, won Miss Asia. Met Devanand, who cast me in Hare Rama Hare Krishna. Boom, became a star, and my cinematic journey started.
You make it sound like it just happened like that.
Yes.
So let me just quickly rewind to the midsection. You went to Los Angeles, you were back in India, and you entered these beauty pageants. Even then, was there an idea, a sense of beauty pageants would lead to entertainment and to acting?
No, not at all. I won the Miss Asia Pacific title. I was a model. I had no plans to enter the Indian film industry. As a matter of fact, we had packed all our stuff and we were leaving the country because my stepfather was posted to Malta, to Europe. Anyway, the long and the short of it is that Mr. Devanand was looking for somebody to play the part of Janice, Jaspreet in Hare Rama Hare Krishna. And I was introduced to him, and obviously he thought that I might fit the part. We did a screen test, and a week later I got to know that I got the part, so we flew off to Kathmandu, did the film, and I was ready to leave. He said, hold on, let me release the film. He released the film. I stayed in India.
And that was when? 50 years, 40 years ago?
Yeah, it was the film was released in 1971 or 1972, I think. It's a long time ago.
It was the year I was born.
There you go.
1971.
There you go.
And I'm quite old in the tooth now.
Well, don't go there.
Age is nothing but a number. Let's quickly talk about Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, because the track itself still sonically resounds this many years later. The iconic images from that movie, for me at least, for a lot of people growing up in the 70s and 80s, you dressed as a hippie. You actually, for the first time, bringing this westernized heroine, even though you weren't really a heroine, it was like an anti-heroine almost in that movie. I just still don't get how you could act so well after coming straight from doing these beauty pageants.
We were actually in Kathmandu really with the hippies, and I had been in California and had witnessed, part of the hippie movement firsthand. So it was very easy to imbibe and to portray. It wasn't tough. Yeah. And I played a young girl who'd run away from home and, was hanging out with the hippies and doing my stuff. But what I didn't anticipate was playing the role of Devanand's sister in that film would make me such a big star. That I did not anticipate at all.
Now, when that stardom came through this movie, were you ready for it?
Because it was a character role, I won a Filmfare Best Supporting Actress for that part, for that film. I obviously, I was lucky that Nav Ketan, because they had discovered me, they actually wrote a part for me in a film called Hira Panna, where there was a stepping stone to my becoming a leading lady, because I didn't play the romantic interest opposite him. Rakhi was, and I played her sister, but I played the title role. He played Hira and I played Panna. So I was lucky that there was a production house where a script was being written, for my talent. And then subsequently I played the leading lady in Ishq Ishq Ishq, and I went on to do a lot of films with him. But I continued signing films outside, and Yadon Ki Barat became a huge hit. Then, of course, there was Dostana and Dawn and Lavaris and, B.R. Chopra's Dhund and Insaf Ka Tarazu and, a whole slew of them. So that's what happened.
That CV almost doesn't seem real. I mean, so many hits. What part do you think you played in all of these movies becoming hits?
Well, I was the main female protagonist, so that's the part I played.
No, but you understand what I'm saying. Is it down to you that all of those films are now iconic films from that era?
I brought my sensibilities to the part, yeah, and my interpretation. So, yeah.
You're a very confident lady, a very confident performer. When you were young and this fame hit you, was there ever a moment where you turned around and went, I'm totally out of my depth? Or did you just have this amazing confidence that you were able to carry around everywhere?
Bobby, I'll tell you what it is. I didn't realize at the time, because I was just working. When you're just working, you're not aware of what is happening around you. I was just working from one project to another. It's only when I stepped away and had my family, had my children, that I realized that yes, I had a definitive body of work and people had liked my work. It's when I stepped out of the limelight, I realized that was there. But when I was actually in it, I was not impacted by it.
Tell us a bit about a typical day for Zeenat Aman in 1978. I'm just trying to get an idea of just how much of a roller coaster it was at the time.
Well, get up in the morning at 6 o'clock, get ready, leave to the studios, come, work on one project till 2:30, go off to another studio, work on another project till 2:30, till 10:30, 11 at night, come back home, go to bed. So my days were just like that, one after. So much so that Shashiji and I, when we were working on 2 films a day, we'd be working with one filmmaker during the first half of the day, and with another filmmaker the second half of the day, and we were confusing the names of our characters, you know, Sunil, Sheila. It was quite crazy, yeah.
Let's talk about these men. Let's talk about the heroes and the directors. The heroes first. Is there one standout hero from that entire era of your life? Someone maybe on screen, but also how they were with you off screen when the cameras weren't rolling?
You know, I'm very happy to say that that all the leading men that I worked with always made me comfortable, and they were pleasant to work with. Shashiji had a great sense of humor. He was very funny. Mr. Bachchan was very punctual, very dedicated, very, you know, focused on his work. Yes, of course, he also had a great sense of humor. Dharmji was eternally the emotional man. I worked with him and with Hema ji in a film, you know, Ali Baba Chali's Tour. We did a lot of other films together. He's a very emotional, warm man. Sanjeev Kapoor, all the years that I worked with him, he was in love with another leading lady, so we would always hear stories of how madly in love he was with with one of my colleagues, you know. Every lunchtime he would be talking about how many calls came in or how he called, whatever, you know, so... no, everybody, and of course Mr. Shatrughan Sinha, who was an eternal latecomer, always come 3-4 hours late to the set, so we knew, you know, when he was there, you know, we could come a little late too. And of course Mr. Rajesh Khanna was the phenomenon when I actually started working with him. So I think he was the only actor who I felt was this huge superstar. I was a little in awe of when I first started. I mean, his engagement to Dimple had just been announced. When I actually went onto the sets with him in a film called Ajnabi, he was just married, and he was this huge, huge star. But of course, you know, when you work with people on a regular basis, then all that, you know, falls by the side, and you're just, they're just your co-star, so.
Is that you? Because, you know, other leading ladies of that era may not have been as nice as you about some of the men they starred with. Is it you? Are you an easy person to work with?
I think so. I think so. I think that I was very involved in my work. I was very dedicated to my work. I enjoyed working in a conducive atmosphere, a happy atmosphere. So I brought that, you know, with myself.
What about the directors? How are your relationships with them?
Like I said earlier, I worked with a lot of actor-directors, and they always brought something a little extra, you know, to the table. And I worked with people who were prolific in, you know, in their work at that time. Whether it was Nasir Hussain, he had a series of hits. I worked with him in Yadon Ki Barat. I worked with Manmohan Desai in a film called Dharamveer. I worked with the Chopra group of, you know, B.R. Chopra. They had a lot of successful films. Shakti Samanta. So I was very fortunate that I worked with a lot of people who were at the top of their game. And I was always a director's actor. Always a director's actor.
So there weren't ever any diva moments, which we don't really hear about them when we look back at your career, but you must have once in your time filming been a right diva, a full-on Bollywood explosion of anger and colour.
No, never. Never, never, never.
Why?
I don't know why. I don't know why. Maybe it's... I had a mother at home who kept me very, very, very grounded in every which way. And I was always at my best behavior at all times, in all places, for sure.
Zeenat ji, I want to move on to your personal life in the sense that you've already explained just how hard you were working. How does one have a personal life? How does one have a boyfriend? I mean, I'm not prying that way, but feel free to spill the beans if you want. No. How does one find a husband? How does one keep up a relationship?
Oh, I didn't have a boyfriend all the years that I was working. But
no boyfriend the entire time?
You know, for those 7-8 years that I was completely dedicated, no, of course there was no boyfriend.
There must have been men throwing themselves at you.
I was just very focused. It was just that. And then what happens is that you tend to interact with the people that you're interacting with. And then there comes a time when somebody makes that effort to break through the barriers. And of course that happened with me, yes.
And did you fall ridiculously in love?
No, let's not go there.
Okay, all right. Let's then talk about the point where you were moving away from Bollywood and becoming a mother? Was it an easy change? Did you wake up one day and say, I'm going to become a mother now, I'm going to just think about my personal life? Or did destiny and kismet just slowly but surely change your direction?
Bobby, when I left the Indian film industry, I really was ready to be a mother. And that's really the reason why I got married, is because I wanted to be a mother, because we live in a society in India where it's important for the children at that point in time, especially, that you have, you're married, you have kids. I mean, I didn't want to go the other route, so that was the main reason why I did get married, to have my children, and I'm so grateful I'm so grateful for that, because I have amazing boys. They're wonderful boys. And no, did I miss the business? No. Did I want to be back in the business? No. I was good and ready to be a mom, and I enjoyed all those years with my boys.
And as you were enjoying those years, there must have been one gene within your chromosome that said, let's go back. I was the queen, I can still be the queen. You must have had one inkling to go back.
No. None at all.
You are the ultimate sex symbol. I say this, most people will agree with me. You've talked about your relationships with your co-stars, with directors. Talk to me about your relationships with other female actresses. Was it a sisterhood? Was it just separate females competing against each other? Or was it just like an office, people just turning up?
Sometimes you want to connect with people, but the people around them don't allow that, or the media would like to create some sort of rivalry. But by and large, I worked on a few films with Hemaji. We're still connected, even today. I worked on a film called Ashanti with Shabana. We're still connected today. Most of the ladies that I actually worked with, it's all good. I have great respect for them, and I think they're wonderful ladies. Yeah.
And did they understand? I wouldn't call it your feminism, but your strength as a woman. And did they kind of plug into that? Because you were a very strong character at the time. In the sense that you were playing strong characters.
No. I understand that. I think, but everybody is busy following their own path, so they're not looking to, make any judgments really about other people. I really don't know what they thought, but we have a great healthy respect for each other even today.
Okay, one last one. I just want to do this. My greatest style icon, apart from you, but you're a woman and I'm a man, has always been Amjad Khan. Mm-hmm. If I can get this from you, I will die happy. Is there something of the Amjad about me?
Bobby, very honestly, I met you yesterday, and as I step back, I think you have your own persona, you have your own personality. Why would you want to be like Amjad at any point in time? I think you're very warm, you're very interesting. Actually, you're a little boy.
Tell my wife that, she'll agree with you.
Yeah, you are. You come across as a little boy. But you have your own personality, which is so totally you. And I have a sense of you in the meeting from yesterday and today, and I think you're absolutely wonderful, and I think you're absolutely unique. And why would you want to be compared to anybody else?
Amjad, we will finish this relationship now. And Zeenat, you have quite literally set me alight. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This was truly my observation of you
and I
between
really
yesterday and now.
I feel that here. Thank you very much.